So hello, today we're doing harem plans. So yes, in England we had a heat wave. I know, how weird is that? So this year's fashion is all about baggy, it's all about comfort, and it's great because it's really easy for the home sewer. Now, so today I am making harem pants. I've made them before, made them for a friend, and she wants more. She loves them to bits. Now, yeah, so let's get started. Thank you. So hi. Okay, so what we have here is two pieces of fabric that are long enough, and they're folded over. Now, I have folded them right side to right side. If you're cutting like this, then you can get a left and a right. Okay, now the pattern is the same for both sides, so it doesn't matter, but it's a good habit to get into so that you can not make mistakes in the future, really. Okay, so I've got 4 pieces of fabric, or 2 pieces of fabric with a fold, and I'm going to make use of the fold as the side hem. I've also got a pair of trousers to get that line. It's kind of like the curve of the gusset and then it goes down for the trousers, and I want to use that as a guideline. I've got some tailor's chalk and I've got some elastic. Now this is for the ankles and also for the waistband. Alright, now measure your fabric to the length of the trousers, okay? Alright, it might not be clear to everyone, but if you're lowering the gusset on a pair of trousers, it's very easy to then add the material to the leg. But you want the trousers to be the same length, so it's the waist to the ankle. And so I always cut the fabric to the right size first. I'm going to find the fold. Now this is the centre seam of the trousers, and I'm sure when you do it, you'll understand what I mean. And then I'm just going to lie that out. So basically what I want is, these are quite high-waisted trousers anyway, so it kind of hires the gusset anyway. So I'm going to lose a bit from the leg and gain a lot more on the waist, so that I've got that complete comfort. Now, one thing I didn't say is that my friend wore these and other friends wanted them. So we are going to be changing fabrics through the course of this video, and I'm going to discuss pockets with you as well. So this is just tailor's chalk, and what I'm doing is, so that I've got the legs wide, is I'm bringing them out and I'm following this line of the gusset. So nice baggy trousers, right to the top, follow that down, and then follow the leg down. So I really have got an accentuated piece of fabric. Now what I didn't say, yeah, going back to that, is that everyone else wanted them. So yeah, that's fine. I've got some fabric that I can use up, and so we're going to use the fabric up. So I've got the main body of the trousers here. Now pockets, the ones that I made for her, the pocket was on this side seam and she loved it like that. I am going to show you how I sewed a pocket in these ones. I'm also going to sew a pocket on the leg as well, which is just a square pocket to go with the front there, but that's going to be on a different pair of trousers. And yeah, these ones. Okay, these ones, the pockets are on the waistband. Now I thought that would be really good because I thought it would make it look as if they're really baggy, and then you'd get the right line. But yeah, I made these ones for me because they're they're little jam jars. Can you see that? No, they're really cute. Anyway, so I made these ones for me, and Yeah, but the pockets are not good. So where was I? I need the main body of the fabric, and I need two, and it is gigantic material. I need elasticate for the waist. Now, they're slightly bigger than me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the waist, the elastic, put it round my waist, and then add, I'm going to go 4 inches because I think they're that size bigger. Yes, I also need a waistband. Now, I don't need a waistband to fit exactly round here, but I do need a waistband to take up some of the fabric. So I'm going to make sure it's big enough to get over my hips, but I'm not going to do it anywhere near tight, so it's still going to be an elasticated waistband. But as you can imagine, I've got a lot of fabric to take up here. Yeah, so I think that's all I need. I'm going to get the bits cut out and then I'll come right back to you. All right. Hi. Okay, so I've done my cutting out. I have my waistband. I'm going to have to sew this together, which I don't like doing, but I'm going to do it anyway. And before I do that, what I'm going to do is I am just going to fold it in half, quite simple. And I'm just going to cut that corner out, not a lot, but it's like a marker for me later for when I'm sewing all this fabric up together. So waistband, pockets important, and then that's the main body of the fabric. And I mean, it is just an overlarged drop gusset, and then the legs are quite short because the fabric's at the top and we don't need it longer. Anyway, I know you don't need telling that, but I do. And I'm going to also tiny triangle just there, and that's the notch, and I'll match that up with the waistband, and it will make life so much easier for me in the long run. I've also got my elastic ready to go, so okay, I'll get sewing. What I'm going to plan to do is I plan to do this one on the overlocker. So we've got the leg part. You see how short that is? And then I'm going to do the same on the other one, and then I'm going to sew the 2 gussets together. Now the overlocker is noisy compared with the sewing machine, and the sewing machine is noisy enough, so you don't need to see that, but it literally is, and then. And what I'm going to do as well, make life really easy for myself, is I'm going to start the gusset when I do the leg seam, so that I don't even have to think about stopping halfway through the fabric. Alright, it's just a Fiona thing. So, welcome back. Okay, so sewn pocket, simple enough. Now, we've changed colours, haven't we? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, sometimes it feels a bit like a factory in here, which is fine. I think I prefer friends. I would prefer to make a pair of trousers for a friend and not to have any friends. Okay. And I really don't like making videos for no reason. So, but you know, that's just me. There's always a reason for the video. So, okay, we've lost the pocket. I can't believe that. I am very special, aren't I? There's the pocket. So, we want the seam on the outside, and we want, so we're going to turn it inside out. It's going to be, so that's the right way round to sew. I've just taken on the leg seam, so it's a pocket that goes like that, yeah? And I've just snipped down. Now this was a fold seam, this wasn't a sew seam, so it wasn't like I'd forgotten. And I'm going to place the pocket to the point of the end. So there's the cut that I made, and I'm going to have to double stitch that so that it doesn't fray there. And then I'm going to give myself a little bit at the end so that I can sew the waistband on. So it's going to go there. So it is a matter of separating the fabrics, because obviously they've been together for so long, and I'm pushing out the front part of the seam, making sure I catch the back part of the seam, and it's just literally, once I've taken a minute to fiddle, quite a straight sew. Yeah, sorry this is noisy. Yeah, it's quite nice. I live opposite a school, and when I'm sewing downstairs I can hear them outside, and I quite like it. But yeah, if you hear random noises, it literally is just the children playing, and I think they're due back in a minute. But yeah, it's choice, isn't it? I could either go or yeah, but I quite like it, and it is only, I think they only get 35 minutes, poor things. Alright, so it's just a bit stuck there where it's going over more fabric than it's used to. And there we go. So that's a pocket on the side seam. It's easy enough. I will double check this little bit here. Now, because of the style of the pants, it doesn't matter that it would be a bit bunched up. But what you can do is then unfold it, make sure that you've got the seam of the pocket and the fold of the fabric, and just do a little triangle just to make sure, so there literally is no puckering or anything else like that. But apparently these are what they wear to garden in, so I know, who am I to judge? Now, so far I think that's all been very simple. You know, you get your, as long as you've got your leg pattern and you sew the right way round, because that could happen, it's all very simple. So now we're on the waistband, which is oversized again, but not as oversized as the trousers. And what I want to do is flatten it out. I have actually ironed some little seams in. Okay, not a very good sewer, alright, freely admit that. So what I want to do is I want to put the right sides together, and I want to take the inside of the trousers, and remember those little nooks that we did? I'm going to put the little nooks to the little nooks and the little seams to the little seams. So then what's going to happen is I'm going to fold the fabric over. So what I've got here is the inside of the trousers. I have the right side of the waistband, because we're folding it. I'm placing those together so that when I sew the right side, I've got the right side to the right side. This just makes a neater finish. So I can talk you through that again. We have the inside of the trousers. I'm going to sew it to the nooks, and then I'm going to fold it over. Now, sewing to the nooks is okay. If you'd like, if you'd prefer, what we can do is we can hand sew this and gather, or we can gather on the machine, or I'm going to show you how you would do it if you were working in a factory. So we've got the nook, we've got the nook. I'm going to force all this fabric into the sewing machine and meet up with this nook. Now, it's entirely up to you how you do this, but basically all I'm going to do is every few stitches I'm going to do that, and the aim is to get an even gather to there. So you can do a long stitch with a needle and thread, and then you can fold it over. Practice, okay? Practice, and then it will be easy, and then your friends can treat you like a factory worker. No, I don't mean that, if they're ever watching. It's just one of those things. I want to do the video, but I don't want to waste fabric. Yeah. So, all I'm doing is I've got the fabric lying flat. Is that a good angle? Maybe, maybe not. And I'm going to push it, and then I'm going to hold this one taut, and then I'm going to sew. And it really is that simple. So, and I'm going to do that all the way around, and every single little nook on there, there's my nook, and that's what I'm aiming for. So I've done half of it as a gather already. Alright, yeah, this is when you find out that you haven't got any bobbin thread or anything. So, you know, you think, oh, I've done it, I can't believe I've done it. And yeah, but that's all good. Alright, so I'm going to take the little nook and the pocket. I'm going to make sure that I meet the top bits of the waistband, because remember I cut it. So I'm going to fold that over, and I'm going to make sure that the two right sides are together. I'm going to make sure there's no excess thread there, and then I'm going to carry on sewing. Alright, now, yeah, this does take a bit of time, so it might be an idea if I stop the video camera and then come back to you when I'm on the next stage. Now the next stage will be inserting the elastic and yeah, folding over this waistband that we're doing. And it's all rough and ready, it's all sort of, I'm going to say beachwear, but it is for the really hot weather. So, alright. Yeah, one thing to watch out for is that you're not catching the rest of the garment underneath. So, yeah, literally just forcing it through. I've probably done enough so you can see. It's a very rough and ready stitch. Alright, I'm going to pause for a bit, finish this side off, and then we'll come back. Thanks. Hey, okay, so I've done that now. I've put my glasses on as well. Not that I run off and have a cup of tea at any possible moment. So yeah, just finishing that off, and we have our gathers. So we've taken up all that material and we've put it round here. Now what I want to do next is I want to fold over. You see this is still oversized, but it is coming down a bit to the elasticated waistband. Now what I did is I measured it around myself, and then I added a bit extra, and then I sewed it, reverse stitched, sewed it again, reverse stitched, just so it's nice and secure, because it's, you know, when we're talking about clothing, we can talk about things of where they're going to fail, and what we don't want is for where, you know, to fail quite quickly. So yeah, and if that does fail, then it's quite an easy fix. You just unpick a couple of stitches rather than sew it in or anything. So with the ironed bit, now I folded it over, and then I folded the little iron bit in there, and you can see that we've got the seams, and we're marrying up to the other seams, and this is the seam of the front of the garment. And then I'm going to place it in the sewing machine. Now sometimes you'll notice that I place things in a sewing machine and I use it as a third hand to hold it there. I'm going to make sure I'm not catching at the bottom, because trust me, that happens a lot. And I'm going to just sew, and with my fingers I can feel the old seam. So I'm going to sew onto the old seam. Now the reason I do that is to keep it tidy. What I want to do is make sure that all these untidy gathers are all tucked in, and then it's just straight round. Now the elasticated waist is hooked in there. Now it's a circle, so I will have to sort of tweeze that round. We'll get to a point sort of halfway over, and I'll pull it through so that I don't have to fight the elastic as well. Alright, I'm not 100% sure you can hear me while I'm doing this, so I'm just going to do enough just to show you, and then I'm going to come back to it. Alright, so I'm using white thread. I'm using white thread on all of them because I'm sewing them continuously and I'm popping back to other things, which doesn't help you. But what I've done, folded it over, and then I've hidden everything with the waistband. And then the elastic, although it will get in my way, when I'm sewing a bit further round, what I'm going to do is just pull it through and then give myself a little bit more room. Alright, so I'm coming back to that. Now what we have at the bottom here is the leg. Now the leg is oversized as well. So what we want to do is we want to gather up the fabric so that it does that classic harem trousers point. Now with the elastic, make sure okay, it's all going to go tragically wrong. Make sure it goes round the ankle because of the actual foot, because there would be nothing more frustrating than you've gone through all the hassle and then it won't actually work. So we've got two ways of doing this. One is harder than the other. We're going to place the circle of elastic, again with the reverse stitch, on the inside of the trousers. We're going to either just fold it with our fingers and run it through, because it's polycotton, so it's a really kind fabric, and then we can fold that over. Now if we do it that way, which is the neater way but slightly harder way, because I'm going to sew 2 inches and then I'm going to have to pull that through and then I can sew another 2 inches. Now the other way of doing it is we can fold it over again as a hem, and we can take our elastic and then we can sew and we can pull our elastic so that way it gathers up the fabric. Now it's not as exact and you won't get the nice bubble, so we're going to do it the more complicated way. But if you do have a bit of scrap elastic and you do have a bit of scrap fabric, I would recommend that you give that a go. Okay, so if you had, I don't know, a friend who wanted you to fix a pair of PJs would be a good example, then you could re-sew the fabric with a bit of an elastic, no faffing, straight over the top. In fact, you know, that might actually be a very easy video for me to make, because it's going to happen sooner or later. And rather than untucking everything, I would just put a new bit of elastic over the top and a row of stitches. So this is going fine. It's really quite easy. I have done probably the same amount as the elastic. So now what I have to do is I have to pull the elastic out of the way, and you could see that I was using quite a bit of force there. I managed to move the sewing machine. I'm going to have to keep the inside of the trouser leg and the hem point together. So it is brute strength. Basically, I'm pulling the elastic so that I can get this fabric straight. Now I know, you know, that it might be a different camera shot, and I can do a different camera shot just for this last bit. But yeah, other than that, other than it's not finished, I'm kind of finished. So let me get this camera down here. I don't really know how I'm going to do this at all. So this is not working at all. All I'm doing is I'm pulling that through, keeping the elastic taut so I can keep the same bits of fabrics through. Alright, now I did say that this is going to be one type of pocket. So I've got the pockets that go from the hip, and then I've got the pockets that go from the waistband like on mine. Let's have a moment and do pockets again. Hi, so yeah, different colour pair of trousers. What we're going to do is we're going to do a square pocket on the front of the trousers. So I'm going to take the pattern. Now I'm not going to pattern match or anything else like that, because it's not that sort of garment. Now I'm going to put quite a healthy fold over the top. This is just to keep it looking nice and crisp. So that's a straight sew. That's easy enough. We can do that. It does get a bit more complicated when you're doing these front pockets. Now I feel as if I pattern match this fabric, it would be probably a bit of a nightmare to see. I'm going to make sure my squares, how terrible am I? I'm going to straighten up my cutting because it is just a scrap of fabric. It was probably round the ankle thing. Alright, so big baggy trousers, yes, and because the waist is so high, don't be tempted to put it on the leg because that'll be around your knees. So we could even hold it up against ourselves, can't we? I would like the pocket to go there. Yeah, that would be comfortable. Any lower, and I think it would be a bit of a nightmare because it would get caught up. Now, okay, so from the centre seam, I can feel the centre seam on my hand. I am going to go probably 2 inches across. I don't want to go any more than that, and yeah, we just decided that I would like to go probably 5 inches down. I know it must be confusing for you that I'm kind of going from centimetres to inches all the time, but yeah, this is why there's a hesitation. Okay, so I'm sewing on the right side because it's a pocket that's on the outside. Now I would recommend that you keep a couple of pins in there just to keep it straight, and then we have to lay the pocket on and fold the pocket over. I know, this is why I say pins. So I'm going to do my third hand thing. Sorry, it's only funny to me. Yeah, and I know where it is. I can see by the pattern of the fabric that that's straight. I'm going to use that big fold seam and as the top because that's why we put it in, and then I'm going to put that in there. Now, like I said, I'm not pattern matching. I just think that that would be a bad thing because you'd never find the pocket with this fabric, would you? Now, this is a bit of a crisper fabric than the one we were using earlier, but that's fine. So all I'm going to do, a couple of reverse stitches straight down. Now I've stopped 1 inch from the bottom and I'm going to make sure my fabric is straight. Okay, not catching anything. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that pocket, that bit of fabric over, and I'm going to tuck in the corner so it's nice and straight. I'm just going to smooth the bottom fabric over, and now I'm sewing to the bottom. Now I'm giving myself a hem of probably 1/3 of an inch, so 1/2 centimetre. Perhaps I should just do both. I know, you know, it's a big thing, you know. Once it was inches and now it's metres. And so I folded that over. With my hands, I'm feeling that everything is straight. I'm making sure there that I was just not catching anything behind. I really hate unpicking. It's just such a waste of energy. Okay, so it's still flat and I'm folding it over there. I'm not worried about the top of this at the minute. All I'm worried about is that little corner, and I don't want like a little taggy bit sticking out. So I'm sewing up to the end. I can put my needle down, lift my foot, again push this through, make sure the bit of fabric that I'm going to sew, don't worry about the rest, just this bit of fabric is straight. I'm going to check my fold, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it up against there. Now I know I could have shown you how to do pins and everything, but I quite like the idea of teaching you how to just sew. You know, there's so many people. My least favourite thing is cutting. I know people out there that their least favourite thing is pattern making. If I had made a pattern, even though technically I have made probably 6, maybe more of these trousers, then it wouldn't have been a waste of paper. But I think it would have been a waste of paper. I don't think we needed to. I could have laid them out and cut them all at the same time, which I didn't. I quite like the idea of they're all slightly different. Yeah. And yeah. So I'm just doing the threads really badly. And I now have my pocket. Give it a shake. Yeah, so I'm going to hold it up here. So we have a pocket. I know, it wasn't that hard. Obviously, yeah. Okay, yeah, before I go, if I was making these for a costume for a show, because I can imagine that somebody would be looking at this video going, yeah, but that doesn't help me. What I need is my daughter's in, you know, my 4-year-old daughter is a genie in Aladdin. So I would use a see-through fabric and I would make them a lot shorter, so they go probably on the knee. Yeah, but I would still keep the gusset quite low though, even though if it was for a costume for a play or something, I would wear it on the hip rather than on the waist. But I'm making this for a friend and she wants it on the waist, and she wants it for comfort. So yeah, hope you have a lovely summer. Sorry if I've waffled on too long. I hate to think how long this video is, but like and subscribe and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.